My executive suite, which my wife Isabella gave away to the new intern Liam. Liam posted photos of the office on social media, captioning them, "Grateful for Isabella's trust and mentorship. I'll strive to live up to the expectation." My assistant forwarded the screenshot to me. The office layout was completely rearranged. All my awards vanished. I immediately forwarded it to Isabella. "Isabella, what's the meaning of this? Why is an intern occupying my private office?" Isabella replied with a voice message, slurring slightly. "Darling, it's just an office. Besides, you're not using it right now. I want that office restored to its original state within 10 minutes, exactly as it was." Isabella didn't respond. 2 minutes later, Sterling Solutions' most vital contract was forcibly suspended. If someone wanted to challenge my authority, I had no problem bankrupting Sterling Corporation. Isabella's calls hammered my phone one after another. I finally answered on the fifth ring. An enraged shout blasted through the receiver. "Julian, have you lost your mind? That's a $200 million project. You know the product launch is next week. Halting it now is practically suicidal for the company. All this over an office? Are you serious?" Married 5 years. This was the first time she'd ever raised her voice at me over another man. I took a slow sip of whiskey, feeling the liquid burn down my throat, a chill spreading through my chest. "This isn't about the office, Isabella. Restore my office immediately, everything back in its exact place, including every single one of my awards, or the company will lose far more." Isabella was silent for a few seconds on the other end. "Now you have 5 minutes left," I said coldly, and hung up. 2 minutes later, she sent photos of the restored office, everything back in its original position. Upon receiving the photos, I immediately contacted the original project lead and rescinded the suspension order. However, I sent Isabella a different photo. It showed her study completely cleared out, including her favorite antique, the one she just won at auction for a small fortune, followed by another image, the floor littered with the shattered fragments of that same antique. "Isabella, consider this your punishment. You know my temper. Let this be the last time." Isabella offered no response. I knew she was furious, but my own anger burned hotter. Our marriage had begun as a strategic alliance between our families 5 years ago. She needed the Shaw family's overseas distribution channels, and I needed Sterling Solutions' domestic manufacturing base. A marriage of convenience was the logical outcome. There was no whirlwind romance, only a rational choice for mutual benefit. "Julian," Isabella had said before the wedding, holding my hand, her gaze steady and sincere. "We won't just support each other in business. After we're married, I will trust you and I'll respect you. I appreciate your frankness, Isabella. I hope our partnership proves successful," I had replied with a smile. Over 5 years, we went from strangers to familiar companions, from respect to reliance, and eventually warmth and affection blossomed. We shared countless nights leaning on each other after endless corporate dinners. This year we finally welcomed our son, Noah. He was the ultimate testament to our love, leading me to believe our bond had become unbreakable. But now, Liam's arrival had shattered the rapport and trust we had painstakingly built. Isabella didn't come home that night. I knew it was her way of expressing anger and dissatisfaction. The next day, I removed the bandages from my leg and went straight to the office. The staff looked surprised to see me, then quickly lowered their heads in greeting. "Mr. Shaw, aren't you still recovering from your injury? What brings you in today?" the young receptionist asked with concern. "Some matters require personal attention." Nodding slightly, I headed straight for the executive floor. Just as the elevator doors opened, I heard laughter spilling from Isabella's office. Through the partially opened door, I saw Liam sitting right beside her. Isabella's eyes were crinkled with amusement, a stark contrast to the cool indifference she usually showed her secretaries. Normally, aside from me, she never allowed anyone to linger in her office, let alone elicit such a warm expression. But now she and Liam were sitting so close there was barely any space between them, engaged in animated conversation. Liam was wearing a high-end designer suit. It was a style I had admired, one Isabella had mentioned wanting to gift me. Not only was the suit incredibly expensive, it was a limited edition. Only 5 existed globally. And now it was being worn by an intern. I pushed the door open. The laughter died instantly. Isabella's smile froze on her face. "What are you doing here?" Liam scrambled to his feet, adopting a respectful expression and greeting me softly. "Mr. Shaw, I heard you just had surgery. You should really be resting at home. What brings you to the company so suddenly?" I scoffed. "Who gave you permission to comment on my personal affairs? What blind fool hired such a disrespectful waste of space?" Liam's smile froze, his mouth hanging open, lost for words. "Immediately take off that suit." The office atmosphere plummeted below freezing. Liam's eyes widened, his lips trembling in disbelief. He glanced at Isabella, his eyes pleading for help. I turned to Isabella as well, my gaze glacial. "Explain. Why is my suit on him?" Isabella frowned, impatient. Because of the office incident yesterday, Liam was subjected to a lot of gossip from colleagues. I was just compensating him a little. "It's just a suit. I'll get you a better one later." "Compensation?" I laughed coldly. "This suit might not mean much financially to us, but it's still a limited edition, global haute couture piece. What status does he have? Is he worthy of wearing it? Besides, what happened yesterday was his own fault for not knowing his place. He brought it upon himself." "Isabella, have you also forgotten your own status? Forgotten who I am? Who gave you permission to casually give away something that belongs to me?" Hearing this, Liam turned deathly pale and stammered. "I'm sorry, Mr. Shaw. I didn't know this suit was yours. Now you know, so take it off immediately." Seeing me cut Liam off, still pressing the issue relentlessly, Isabella lost her temper. "Julian, don't push it. We have a project meeting to get to. Stop making a scene." My heart sank. She had never raised her voice to me in the office before. Now she was breaking that rule for Liam. Beside her, Liam visibly relaxed, seeing Isabella stand up for him. "Project? Which project is that?" "The Vanguard Ventures partnership. Liam and I are about to leave for the meeting." Isabella tugged at her sleeve, her tone growing even more impatient. "Liam has been a significant help with this matter, so I'm bringing him along to the discussion." I raised an eyebrow, my smile laced with sarcasm. "Oh, I wasn't aware an intern possessed such capability, enough to influence the decisions of a publicly traded company." Isabella's face darkened. She grabbed her purse and motioned for Liam to follow. "Let's go. We can't afford to waste any more time." As they brushed past me, Liam shot me a triumphant smirk, his eyes glinting with provocation. "Isabella, you brought this upon yourself. Since you insist on shielding Liam, don't blame me for being merciless." After they left, I pulled out my phone and dialed Vanguard Ventures chairman, Mr. Davidson, on his private line. "Mr. Davidson, Julian Shaw here. About that partnership Isabella Miller is coming to discuss today." An hour later, I received a call from Isabella. She was furious, her voice practically a roar. "Julian, what the hell do you think you're doing?" Mr. Davidson not only publicly humiliated Liam, calling him a kept man who used his body to climb the ladder, he also claimed Sterling Solutions basically owes its existence to you, and that now while you're recovering, I'm running around with other men, being ungrateful and disloyal. This was all orchestrated by you, wasn't it? I chuckled softly. "Isabella, I can't control other people's thoughts or mouths. Whether it's true or not, people have eyes. They can judge for themselves." Liam left completely humiliated, and the deal is off. "Are you satisfied now?" "Satisfied? Immensely satisfied. You both reaped what you sowed." After hanging up, the fire in my chest subsided slightly. Later, I received a message from my assistant Brian informing me that news about Liam had already spread throughout the company. When he returned to the office, colleagues pointed and whispered. Some even openly cursed him for being arrogant, having devious intentions, and lacking real ability, relying on dirty tactics to get ahead. Everything on his desk had been thrown into the trash. Even though he desperately insisted he wasn't the kind of person and pleaded with them to stop, no one in the company listened to his explanations. Who would risk antagonizing the executive vice president over a mere intern? Everyone was eager to kick him while he was down. I'd seen this kind of thing countless times. Liam had truly brought this upon himself. An intern with no background and no real skills, thinking a little favor from Isabella meant he could leapfrog to the top. It was laughable. Humiliated and enraged, Liam submitted his resignation. Since he wasn't officially on board yet, HR processed it instantly, no questions asked. Liam's current situation was entirely his own doing. Who told him to be so arrogant, coveting positions and people far beyond his reach? Isabella managed to smooth things over with Vanguard Ventures after a lengthy effort, But when she returned to find Liam had already left the company, her face turned thunderous. She arrived home late that evening while I was putting our son Noah to sleep. The little guy's face was chubby, his nose and eyes strikingly similar to Isabella's. She stood at the nursery doorway, her expression grim, but she deliberately kept her voice low. Liam did nothing wrong. He's just a hard-working young man. Now, because of you, he's not only lost his job, but his reputation is ruined too. Julian, there has to be a limit to your rich boy tantrums. I motioned for her to be quiet and gently laid the sleeping child down in his crib. Stepping out of the room and closing the door behind me, I finally spoke. Isabella, let me repeat. Liam being harassed and quitting was not orchestrated by me. Even though I told myself it didn't matter, the anger and disbelief in Isabella's eyes still sent a pang through my heart. Ask yourself honestly, how many times have you broken your own rules for that, Liam? It was your tacit permission, your indulgence, that gave him inappropriate ideas. There's nothing inappropriate between Liam and me, Isabella retorted heatedly. Innocent, would you give him things originally intended for me? Would you let him practically move into your office? Don't you remember? The last secretary wasn't even allowed to bring in a temporary chair to report to you in your office. But now, you repeatedly break the rules for Liam, even turning on your own husband with anger for his sake. I moved closer, towering over her slightly, emphasizing each word. Isabella, I admit I do care about you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have married you, wouldn't have wanted you to have my child. But you know perfectly well, Julian Shaw doesn't tolerate even a speck of impurity in his eyes. Not the slightest hint of betrayal or deception. If you dare cross that line, even just an emotional affair, a hint of ambiguity, I wouldn't hesitate to find a new mother for my son. Isabella's face turned livid. She spun around and stormed towards the guest bedroom. But I understood. This particular fight was over. She would retreat to the guest room, compose herself, and by the next day, we would reconcile and move past it. This had been our unspoken agreement, our way of managing this marriage for 5 years. However, previous conflicts had always stemmed from business or family matters. This fighting over another person romantically was the first time, and it would be the last. The next morning, Isabella's phone rang early. Liam's name flashed on the screen. She hesitated for a moment before pressing answer. Liam's voice came through the phone, choked with sobs. Isabella, I really don't know what to do anymore. Slow down. Tell me what happened. Isabella frowned, her voice gentle. I'm being attacked online. My pictures are everywhere. Everyone is insulting me, calling me a kept man, saying I used my body to get ahead. I'm terrified. I don't even dare to leave my apartment. Liam's voice trembled with fear and helplessness, punctuated by faint sobs. Isabella's expression turned incredibly ugly. She looked at me, her eyes practically shooting flames. Okay, first, don't panic. Stay inside, don't go anywhere. I'll handle this right away. The fact that Liam had offended me was already common knowledge within our social and business circles. Even if I didn't explicitly order it, partners eager to curry favor with me would take initiative. I had glanced at the online situation that morning. It wasn't nearly as severe as Liam made it sound in his call, but I had to admit, his damsel in distress act had effectively triggered Isabella's protective instincts. Isabella's fury erupted the moment she hung up the phone. She slammed her phone down on the table, her eyes red-rimmed as she demanded, Julian, what exactly are you trying to pull? Liam is already gone from the company, gone from our lives. Why do you keep targeting him? How did you become so vicious, abusing your position, your power as my husband, the company executive, just to hurt someone? I slammed my own coffee cup down on the table, refusing to tolerate her accusations. Isabella, I told you I didn't do anything. The entire company knows he crossed you. Who else but you would do something like this? Huh? Isabella, in all these years, when have you ever known me to do something and then deny it? Yet you question me again and again over some intern. It seems you're utterly infatuated with him. Isabella's face turned a shade of purple. She stormed out, slamming the door violently behind her. I calmly wiped the corner of my mouth with a napkin, watching her retreating back, a profound sense of disappointment washing over me. In the afternoon, I was scrolling through social media. I noticed that the flood of negative posts about Liam had vanished, replaced by an official statement from Sterling Solutions. The statement declared Liam was exceptionally talented and had joined Sterling Solutions based purely on merit. It asserted that Sterling Solutions would not tolerate malicious slander against its employees and would pursue legal action against those spreading false information online. My phone screen lit up with a new message notification. It was from Brian. Mr. Shaw, Ms. Isabella didn't just have the legal department issue that statement. She also publicly announced that Liam is being reinstated, effective immediately, as her chief secretary. She warned that anyone caught spreading rumors or gossiping further will be terminated on the spot. Now the entire company is buzzing with rumors that Ms. Isabella and Liam's relationship isn't strictly professional. Brian's words sent a jolt through my chest. Immediately after, Brian sent another screenshot. It was a post from Liam's personal social media account. The storms in the workplace have passed. True gold fears no fire. My efforts have not been in vain. Thank you, Isabella, for recognizing my abilities. Moving forward, I will diligently assist Isabella and will not betray this trust. Attached was a picture of an official offer letter. He had been rehired as Sterling Solutions Chief Secretary, with a salary package equivalent to an executive vice president. Staring at that nauseatingly worded post, I slammed my phone down hard on the desk, murderous rage filling my eyes. Not long after, Isabella came home to pick up some files, pointedly avoiding even looking in my direction. She went straight upstairs, retrieved something from the study, and was about to leave. My fingers tapped rhythmically on the coffee table. I spoke, stopping her in her tracks. Isabella, what is the meaning of this? She paused, turning to face me, her eyes cold. Liam is simply a hard-working employee who was targeted by you for inexplicable reasons, forced out of the company, and then subjected to online harassment. I am merely rectifying the wrongs you committed. This is what Liam deserves. And what if I insist that you fire him? Then you can just try? Before, it was out of respect for you, my husband, that I tolerated so much, that I allowed you to misuse your authority and harm others. Now, I've had enough of your behavior. This time, I will not sacrifice Liam, and I will not let you act recklessly any longer. Isabella spun around and left, the sound of the slamming door echoing through the entire villa. In that instant, I completely lost all hope for her. Our 5-year marriage built over time was crumbling because of a man who had shown up barely 2 weeks ago. I sat there on the sofa, a storm of anger and disappointment raging inside me. The water glass in my hand shattered under the pressure, shards digging into my palm. Blood trickled down my hand. I forced myself to calm down. Since she insists on siding with that pretty boy, then she can't blame me for being ruthless. Isabella, you will pay dearly for what you've done today. Having made my decision, I picked up my phone and called my personal lawyer, Marcus Chun. Marcus, I need you to prepare divorce papers immediately. Make sure the asset division is meticulously detailed. I want everything accounted for, not a single cent unaccounted for. Clearly taken aback by my sudden decision, Marcus cautiously confirmed. Mr. Shaw, are you certain about this? Divorce is a significant step. Immediately. Right now? I want that agreement ready within 3 days. All right, I understand. And regarding Isabella, there's no need to notify her. This is my decision. After hanging up, I opened my laptop and accessed all files related to business dealings with Sterling Solutions. Over 5 years of marriage, I had provided Sterling Solutions with substantial advantages and resources. Now it was time to take it all back. Subsequently, I issued a direct order to the Shaw Enterprises overseas headquarters. Inform all to suspend all ongoing collaborative projects with Sterling Solutions immediately. Cite technical adjustments as the reason. Yes, Mr. Shaw, came the crisp reply. No questions asked, absolute obedience to my command. That was always the Shaw Enterprises way. Next were the core technical teams that Shaw Enterprises had placed within Sterling Solutions. I instructed the Human Resources Department. Recall all these personnel back to Shaw Enterprises, offering them double their current salaries. This series of actions quickly caught my father's attention. His call came soon after. The moment I answered, I cut straight to the chase. Dad, I've decided to divorce Isabella. There was a moment of silence on the other end before my father's voice came through. Have you thought this through carefully? Perfectly clear. All right then. I won't pry into the reasons. Your mother and I trust you, and we support your decision. Since you've made up your mind, don't waver. The Shaw family doesn't believe in dragging things out. Within 2 days, I had quietly withdrawn everything. Funds in my personal accounts were also systematically transferred, ensuring Isabella could no longer access them, and she remained completely oblivious to all of it. During these 2 days, Liam's social media accounts were quite active. He constantly posted photos of himself accompanying Isabella to various business events, showcasing a new car, a new watch, a new office. The captions invariably included phrases like, "Grateful for Isabella's mentorship." I glanced at it once on the first day and then blocked him. Such garbage wasn't worth another second of my attention. Instead, I poured all my energy into preparations for my new ventures. Suddenly, my phone rang. The caller ID showed Isabella's name. "Julian, it's Dad's birthday today. He wants us to come over to the family estate. If you don't want to come, I'll just go by myself." Her voice was cold and distant. I glanced at the prepared divorce agreement lying on my desk. A slight smile touched my lips. "I'll be there." It was time to lay everything out on the table, to finally end this. At 7 p.m., I drove my Bentley slowly through the gates of the O'Connell family estate. The courtyard was brightly lit, and I could faintly hear the sounds of conversation and laughter. Isabella's parents, Mr. and Mrs. O'Connell, along with a few relatives, were standing near the entrance to greet guests. When they saw me get out of the car alone, a flicker of surprise crossed their faces. "Julian, dear, where's Isabella?" Mrs. O'Connell asked. It wasn't surprising they were taken aback. In 5 years of marriage, this was the first time we hadn't arrived together. She said she'd arrive shortly. They welcomed me warmly inside. The butler personally served me a cup of high-end green tea. I sat on the sofa, accepted the cup, and sipped it calmly, appearing perfectly at ease. Half an hour later, the main door opened again. Isabella had finally arrived. But what shocked everyone was that Liam trailed in right behind her. Mr. O'Connell instantly recognized the inappropriateness of the situation. His face darkened, a flash of anger in his eyes. "Isabella, this is a family gathering. What are you doing bringing an outsider here?" "Dad, Liam is my chief secretary. We just finished up some urgent business, so I brought him along with me. This is a family dinner. How can you mix it with company affairs?" Mr. O'Connell's voice rose sharply. "Have him leave." Liam's expression faltered. He looked toward Isabella with a wounded expression. This tactic clearly worked on Isabella. She immediately jumped to his defense. "Dad, Liam is my right-hand man. He worked so hard today. He didn't even have time for dinner. Just let him stay and eat with us." Seeing his daughter so oblivious to the situation, Mr. O'Connell grew even angrier. Has Julian ever brought his assistant here during his busiest times? This is a family dinner, not one of your corporate schmoozing events. Butler, escort this gentleman out. The butler hesitated, caught awkwardly in the middle of the family conflict, unsure how to proceed. Liam stood slightly behind Isabella. His eyes, however, kept darting towards me, a faint provocative smirk playing on his lips. This whole charade had completely exhausted my patience. "That won't be necessary." I cut through their argument coldly, retrieving a file from the inner pocket of my suit jacket. I placed it firmly on the coffee table in front of everyone. "I came today specifically for this." When they saw the large words, "Divorce Agreement," printed on the cover, the entire room fell silent. Isabella's face instantly drained of all color. The purse she was holding slipped from her grasp and landed on the carpet with a soft thud. Her voice trembling, she demanded, "Julian, you want to divorce me? Have you lost your mind?" My gaze swept from Isabella's pale face to Liam's, then settled back on her. "I'm perfectly lucid, clearer now than I've ever been." Mr. and Mrs. O'Connell quickly stepped forward, attempting to mediate. "Julian, dear, let's talk this through calmly. If there's been a misunderstanding, we shouldn't make impulsive decisions. There's nothing more to discuss. My decision is final. I won't sign." Isabella suddenly shouted, her eyes welling up. "Just because I made Liam my chief secretary, you want to divorce me? Isabella, you know perfectly well what this is truly about." I stared directly into her eyes, speaking each word deliberately. "I warned you. I even gave you a chance. Julian Shaw doesn't normally give second chances. I already broke that rule for you, but you clearly didn't appreciate it. Since you chose to trample on my dignity for the sake of some pretty boy, then don't blame me for being merciless." The room erupted in shocked murmurs. Isabella stood frozen, refusing to sign. Mrs. O'Connell grabbed my arm, her voice pleading, "Julian, Please calm down. Let's talk about this slowly. Please don't do anything rash. I politely but firmly disengaged my arm. Mrs. O'Connell, I respect you deeply, but my decision is final. There's no room for negotiation. Isabella, you can refuse to sign. In that case, we'll settle this in court. With that, I turned and strode out of the house, leaving the chaotic scene behind me. Standing at the floor-to-ceiling window, gazing out over the sprawling city below, I felt a sense of lightness I hadn't experienced in a long time. Brian entered my office, holding a new report. Mr. Shaw, another 30 core employees from Sterling Solutions submitted their job applications to us today, he reported, unable to hide his excitement. To date, we've successfully recruited over 100 key technical personnel from Sterling Corporation. Sterling Solutions stock hit the lower limit at market open today. That makes it the 5th consecutive trading day of limit down. Additionally, several of their key projects have been forced to halt due to the talent drain. Market rumors are already circulating about impending bankruptcy. I nodded slightly. This was all proceeding according to plan. Without the backing of Shaw Enterprises and stripped of its core technical team, Sterling Solutions was like a fish out of water, floundering and waiting for the inevitable. Oh, and Mr. Shaw, there's another interesting piece of news, Brian added, a grin spreading across his face. Apparently, Liam made some grandiose pronouncements during a Sterling Solutions senior management meeting, proposing the company pivot into the technology sector. The project apparently launched and failed spectacularly almost immediately. Word is Sterling Solutions is in complete internal chaos right now. I sneered. A liberal arts major daring to direct technical teams. The audacity is astounding. Truly clueless. It was the predictable outcome. Liam was nothing more than a polished facade, devoid of real talent or business acumen. Isabella, blinded by whatever infatuation she had foolishly entrusted critical company decisions to such a person. The phone on my desk lit up again, another incoming call from Isabella. That marked the 15th missed call from her today alone. I added her number to my block list. I had no interest in hearing her explanations or apologies, nor did I care how she was currently faring. Word had reached me that after Sterling Solutions stock continued to plummet and multiple projects ground to a halt, Isabella finally came to her senses and fired Liam. But it was too late. Sterling Solutions was already deeply wounded, its market capitalization nearly halved. In the afternoon, security called my office line. Mr. Shaw, Miss Isabella O'Connell is in the lobby. She's demanding to see you. I'm not seeing her. She says she refuses to leave until she speaks with you, the guard said, sounding troubled. Then let her stand there. Assign someone to keep an eye on her. Ensure she doesn't cause a disturbance. I hung up and returned my focus to the work in front of me. Doesn't she understand yet? It's completely over. That evening, Brian sent a message. Isabella had stood at the company entrance for 2 hours before finally being forcibly removed by security. The next day, the security call came again. This time, the visitor was Mr. O'Connell. I paused for a moment, then nodded. I told Brian to escort him up. After all, despite everything, Mr. and Mrs. O'Connell had always treated me decently over the years. Mr. O'Connell looked haggard, his eyes bloodshot, clearly worn down. He entered my office and got straight to the point. Julian, I know Isabella made a terrible mistake, but she recognizes her error now. Can you possibly find it in your heart to give her another chance? His voice was pleading, his eyes filled with desperate hope. Mr. O'Connell, I respect you greatly, but this situation is irreversible. I know she did wrong, but she truly understands her mistake now. Please, Julian, think about the years you had together. I cut him off gently but firmly. Mr. O'Connell, you understand this better than most. Some mistakes, once made, leave no path back. She's already fired Liam. She regrets everything deeply now. Firing Liam doesn't address the fundamental problem. Isabella didn't just disrespect me. She fundamentally betrayed the trust and affection between us. As I told her, I don't tolerate even a speck of dust in my eye. There's simply no possibility for us anymore. If she continues to refuse to sign the divorce agreement, I will continue applying pressure to Sterling Solutions until it collapses entirely. Mr. O'Connell's expression turned grim. I understand, he said heavily. I will persuade her to sign. I will raise Noah. The O'Connell family is welcome to visit him any time. Although I felt sympathy for the old man, I wouldn't compromise my principles, nor did I want any further entanglement with Isabella. Mr. O'Connell sighed deeply, nodded, and walked towards the door, his shoulders slumped. 3 days later, the signed divorce agreement arrived on my desk. Night fell. I finished processing the last document and prepared to leave the office. As I walked out of the building, a wretched figure caught my eye. It was Liam, pinned between two security guards, his clothes torn, his hair a mess. Seeing me appear, he began struggling violently, nearly breaking free from the guard's grip. "Julian Shaw," he screamed. "Everything that's happened to me is your fault. You destroyed my career. You destroyed my life." I maintained a safe distance, looking down at him with disdain. "Liam, you seem to have misunderstood something. You were fired because you were incompetent. Those so-called brilliant strategies of yours were just second-hand garbage copied from the internet, riddled with flaws." Liam's face flushed red, then turned deathly pale, the anger in his eyes intensifying with my words. I continued, my voice calm but cutting. "You managed to become Isabella's chief secretary by playing the victim, exploiting her sympathy. You're nothing but an incompetent pretty boy who relies on charming women to get ahead. That's your true nature. You bullied those beneath you, skimmed company resources, and no one dared call you out because you hid behind Isabella, abusing her trust and protection, didn't you? What do you think you amount to in my eyes? Just an incompetent pretty boy selling sob stories, and probably more. Someone like you is lower than trash." Liam's face turned absolutely white. I had clearly struck a nerve. He suddenly lunged forward, breaking free momentarily. "Shut up. I'm going to kill you." I didn't flinch. Before he could reach me, the guards tackled him swiftly, pinning him to the ground. I walked over and placed my foot firmly on his hand. "Liam, if you ever dare to show your face in front of me again, I will make sure you die a very unpleasant death. Getting rid of you would be easier for me than crushing an ant. You had better pray our paths never cross again." Liam completely lost it, screaming hysterically, "Julian Shaw, you'll rot in hell. I'll kill you." The guards quickly clamped a hand over his mouth and dragged him away. That same night, an anonymous account surfaced online, leaking compromising photos of Liam from his time working at an upscale private lounge. The photos showed him fawning obsequiously over several older, wealthy women, plying them with drinks. Soon after, surveillance footage of him shoplifting, along with chat logs from his university days detailing how he scammed money from a girlfriend, were all exposed. I hadn't ordered any of this, but there were plenty of people eager to gain my favor. Those desperate for Shaw Enterprises' goodwill took the initiative themselves. Mr. O'Connell also used his own influence to blacklist Liam throughout the industry, ensuring he couldn't find legitimate work anywhere. Ultimately, Liam had no choice but to return to the private lounge where he'd worked before, resuming his old profession. Word got back to me that less than a month later, he died from an illness brought on by excessive physical strain. As for me, within 6 months of the divorce, I secured 3 major contracts, my company's stock price doubled, and my career soared. Forbes even named me Entrepreneur of the Year. Isabella, with her father's help, began the arduous process of rebuilding Sterling Solutions, embarking on the long road to recovery. I occasionally saw her mentioned in business news. The sharp edge she once possessed seemed to have faded, replaced by a certain weariness. 3 years flew by in the blink of an eye. My company was now a leader in its industry. My status as a successful single CEO also made me a target of interest for many women, but my heart remained focused on my work and my son, Noah. I hadn't considered another relationship. Noah was now 4 years old, bright, energetic, and his smile looked remarkably like mine. Since the divorce, I dedicated most of my free time to him, personally handling kindergarten drop-offs and pickups every day. I even set aside a small corner in my office filled with his toys and drawings, making it a space where he could comfortably spend time whenever he visited. "Daddy, when is Mommy coming to see me?" Noah asked suddenly one day, looking up at me with hopeful eyes. I checked the calendar on my phone. "Your birthday is the day after tomorrow. Mommy will likely come visit then, probably with a present." According to the divorce agreement, Isabella was allowed to visit Noah twice a month for a maximum of 3 hours each time. Over the past 3 years, she had never missed a single scheduled visit. No matter how busy she was, she always arrived at the agreed time. She always brought carefully chosen gifts, doing her best to make up for her past absence and mistakes. Despite my own lingering resentment towards Isabella, I never interfered with Noah's contact with her, prioritizing his emotional well-being. During these 3 years, Sterling Solutions had gradually recovered under Isabella's leadership. Though smaller in scale than before, it was operating steadily. We occasionally crossed paths at business functions. We would exchange polite nods, but nothing more. On Noah's 4th birthday, I hosted a small party at home, inviting a few of his little friends and their nannies. In the afternoon, the doorbell rang. I opened the door to find Isabella standing there, holding a large, brightly wrapped gift box. "His birthday present," she said simply. I took the large box from her and nodded. "You have 3 hours. I'll be back precisely then." Isabella nodded, her eyes lingering on Noah with a touch of sadness as I prepared to leave. Over these past 3 years, she had hinted at wanting to reconcile on multiple occasions through various indirect means. She would sometimes pointedly mention fond memories we shared during conversations at business gatherings. She would linger for a few extra minutes after her visits with Noah, trying to strike up small talk to prolong the interaction. She even asked mutual friends to convey messages to me, saying she still loved me and was willing to start over. But I rejected all these overtures, politely but firmly. Some things, once shattered, simply cannot be put back together. My life now was fulfilling, a thriving career, a happy and healthy son. Compared to the constraints and conflicts of my past marriage, I felt freer, more at ease, and truly content.